If there's one thing all Polin fans wonder about right now, it's whether we're going to see the big wedding in part 2. The Polin storyline, which revolves around the relationship between Colin and Penelope, has been a fan favorite since the beginning of the show. I mean, some people even question whether the season is going to have an unhappy ending, completely changing the plot of the book. Let me tell you now, no, that won't happen. Colin and Penelope will get married in part 2. That doesn't mean they will immediately solve the Lady Whistledown issue, but they will get married and won't break up. There are many clues about this in the official part 2 trailer, as well as the leaked info and pictures. I have talked about episodes 5 and 6 in separate videos. I'll put them in the description box. Just know that this video will focus mostly on episodes 7 and 8 and the Polin storyline. Let's get into it. The aftermath. As I mentioned in my previous video, episode 6 ends with Colin following Penelope into the print shop and finally learning about Lady Whistledown. The leaks about episodes 7 and 8 said that the two would have a big fight, but Colin would easily accept the fact that Pen is LV. Now, the part 2 trailer shows a similar trajectory but with a twist. There's a confrontation scene where Pen tells Colin that she can't take care of herself, and Colin answers, "Then what good am I to you?" Since Pen wore her LV cloak to go to the print shop at the end of episode 6, as she always does, and since she's wearing the same cloak here in this scene, I believe this is the big fight they have after Colin finds out. And how does it end? They kiss, quite passionately. They have the same clothes as they did in the previous scene, so I believe this is what happens after the big fight. Now, the question is, does Colin forgive Pen that easily? I believe no. At that moment, I think he realizes that despite the Lady Whistledown reveal, he loves Pen, and that kiss is the culmination of the big emotions they experience at that moment. However, the question of LV will continue to linger until the end of the season, especially if Pen continues writing, and we know that she will until she outs Cressida, who will assume the title of Lady Whistledown in episode 5. They have this passionate kiss, and maybe Colin will even forgive Pen for her secret, but the anger and disappointment he feels towards her will continue until the end, which would be quite similar to the book depiction where this LV issue is looming over them even a while after Colin finds out. I mean, there's a scene where Colin is sitting on the couch of their new house, there's a pillow on the couch, which means he slept there, and Pen is coming out of the other room, probably their bedroom. Not only does this mean that they have gotten married here already, since they casually hang out in their new house, but also Colin is still sad and upset over something, which I think is about LV. There was an interview with Luke Newton who said that he cried so much while playing a certain scene where he was supposed to be angry. The scene he's referring to is probably this one, or the one where they fight and have a kiss. He seriously looks so depressed here. What do we think? The wedding. Let me show you some clues about their wedding. First of all, look at this shot. At first glance, it's Francesca and John dancing, but then look at who's there on the right. Pen is wearing a white dress which seems off-white, which has to be a wedding dress, especially with that volume. And Colin is dressed like a groom as well. Every other person in the shot is looking towards them, the bride and the groom, while Francesca and John are having their little moment. This shot is also from their wedding. I mean, look at the hair accessory and what Colin is wearing. This definitely is their wedding dance. When I say wedding, I mean the wedding reception after the actual ceremony, which takes place in a church. For example, there's this scene where characters are sitting down on chairs. It definitely looks like they're in a church watching a couple get married. But then the dancing scenes probably belong to the wedding reception that takes place after at the Featherington house. After the wedding, I can also talk about the leaks that have been going around. It's important to note that these leaks are not official. They are rumors and speculations that have been circulating among fans. I should say first that the leaks about episodes 7 and 8 are not as detailed as the ones for episodes 5 and 6. They're also not supported by any pictures, and people who claim they know the episodes usually also say that they heard it from someone who watched them, so it's not possible to get a first-hand account from someone who watched it directly, even anonymously. So take these spoilers with a grain of salt, but they basically say that Colin and Pen do get married in part 2, but they also have a final ball, and that's what we see in the last shot of the trailer. This is after they get married. Apparently, this is from the last ball of the season. The trailer does make it look like they're still having problems related to the Lady Whistledown issue from the way they look at each other, and that might actually be true. According to these leaks, in the end, Colin and Pen decide to tell the entire town that she is Lady Whistledown. They decide to tell the Queen first and foremost, and only after that do they tell everyone about it. The Queen and the others are shocked, of course, but nothing really happens to Pen or Colin for hiding this. Is it a happy ending? That depends on how you view the fact that everyone learns about Lady Whistledown. I am quite curious to see how this revelation will impact the future seasons. One leak even says that Julia's voice as Lady Whistledown will change to Pen's voice in the final episode. Does this mean Pen will continue to work as Lady Whistledown even when everyone knows about her? I don't think this would make sense. What do you think? One final comment about the trailer. When Lady Whistledown says this author cannot tolerate a lie and we see a shot of Polin, that's a misdirection. Eloise says that about Cressida and her false assuming of the Lady Whistledown name, Pen will expose Cressida in a pamphlet and will call her a liar and charlatan, among other things. Before you say anything, it looks like we won't see Francesca and John's wedding in part 2, as the main focus will be on Colin and Penelope. Their wedding will be mentioned, but we won't see it. I mean, even Anthony didn't get a wedding, so this isn't really a surprise, is it? Check the videos in my description box if you want to learn more spoilers before part 2 starts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you soon, guys.